I just did the last 2 hours, hour and a half. Yeah. Oh, okay. I dressed here. I took a shot and I dressed here. Okay. Yes, here is here.
We're taking up to LA right after this through Monday, so. Yeah, we're supposed to be there last night, but.
Instead of everyone.
One more? Do one more?
Yeah, they didn't bring coffee, huh?
Now, I'm going to turn it Carol.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a one to, I mean, it's a one to, and so maybe. Yeah, I would make Carol. Perfect. So here, just do a follow. The pool was great this morning. I didn't worry that I have like days off, so like this week I have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and like. Well, we're trying. So. Yes, they named it as a role. Which one? I would. Testing.
Right.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hey, Bill, since you're here, is it okay if I say that? I'll read it. Read all. Are you going out today?
No, I have a question.
Oh, it's oh, bye. Okay. Sit down right on the little piece here. Okay, I will. Okay. Because I want. Okay. The last thing that is what I want. All right, everybody just settle down.
Look at the spines
Just hold it right for Lisa Chapman. That's where I need to, just right over there with my other troublemakers. That's where I need to be. Shit woman. Okay. Terry, go over there. Oh, yeah, he's looking to you, right? Oh, you know what? I have a suggestion. I'm gonna do the timer. Put me in the front so that everyone can see. Yeah, I've got I just moved me over in the front there. I'm like right in front of the podium. I want to be close enough that I can, distract you. Oh. No, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Nico, don't forget our hazardous waste on the deck. Way more trouble than I'm worth, really. Okay. Oh, you know, Ray. Yeah. Shower once a week at this point, whether I need it or not. I think that is.
So you have one okay. The reality we started with coming with some other company. And then the next year we got to go to field plan, and then we were ready to be our best. We would be the absolutely better for you. And that was for our third year with this other company. And she also heard my call. Yeah, she brought their own year from it. Homeowners, yeah, homeowners and fire. Like I said, if you get paid farm and purple home. Yeah. But it's stuff. I don't say that. Check.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm nothing about what they call it. Yeah. What government? Government has to be government. Because what they're writing on the loan to do the club. In the Philippines. Well, make this a fault on the back.
And that's usually on that since I worked for them.
I watched 380,000. Just
So I have a lot of respect
I understand that we need to just meal just taking you off of this that long. Every 2 years, we just see the debt limit and then with $40 trillion in debt. It's a great answer for that. And I think it was studying, so I go at home. So then and the idea that I can't buy it, I can't pay for it. And the idea that you look at this, they say, well, the national debt, you owe $95,000 on the $300,000 on here, the national debt, and it just raising its hand and spending money. What was off the shady stuff, you know, they hold that. The war, the economy shut down. Yeah. I mean, it's. I want to die.
Yeah.
We know that place you're just saying that Steve I'm just more than
the people sorted. Some genes. There are 4 years, or I like it. Well, good times.
Well, should have grabbed.
But they should have. I don't want to.
enemies here.
Let's see. I think that. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I wish they started at the south one. And we split our pin then. Boston. And we broke all the rules. He's at. There's two standard rules. What's up? You always anchor the bottom. The bottom of everything, look. So we came from the top. Very, at the end of the bottom. Really, one,
No, the same.
I was there in 81, 81.
So like.
Then they're done. I was a reserve fire there. You know, we have.
I watched the videos on there and YouTube video like shows you kind of do that.
You get in a permit. I lost my pass. So I had one from the morning game. And the teenage girl was talking to me 2 weeks ago. I graduated. I saw it. Yeah.
Somebody, one piece of that. The guy was just 6 months. Had a couple of friends who decided to go back and go to work because they was living in all that. I had to take 37 great everything. And then years later, he still was there. So just if they tell you to stay off for 6 months, and you have a chance to feel great after 4 months, stay off. So this guy, so I got a check in quite a bit, and he was working on a show back in Nashville, TV series Nashville. Decided to go back, working on it, and it started to get a little affected. He got back to his regular guy because he was that bad.
I've been on the fire.
Redo the surgery. So anyway, I don't need to. It's important. I don't want to make much of it again. It's amazing. He was actually one of the location managers. Yes, for season. Yeah. I think they went there.
Yeah, it's. This is Washington. That's what I expect. It's not. So that's her
Yeah. Yeah, I will.
As many as you do that.
No, I told that you were good at it.
I'm keeping this going.
So the tough is,
somewhere close to.
Yeah.
That's all I mean. How many times?
And this is what happened last time, but they'll tell you just a lot of experience. I'll be at work. Say, oh, I know this guy.
The mandatory evacuation, people get it. Why?
My road, okay, I don't know, want something that's. Yeah. Yeah, but, you know, a couple of. I have to sterilize. Really.
Higher education.
But,
It's all. It's all.
she was living one day on the other day. We saw her, so she was at one house. We have good.
Did you come to the other one? Okay, we're about to start. Okay, we're about to start. Let's see, what first? First of all, Jennifer, Emmett, and Steve or Kat could not make it. We knew ahead of time that they're excused. They had other things they had to do, and they knew all ahead of time. So, Brad, could you move over?
Sure.
And then because we're
Brad, can you sit next to me, please?
you better not.
I am sitting. I want Brad here. I was actually gonna invite him here. I was like sitting there, why is Brad over there?
Okay. This is a question and answer for, my name is Pam Acosta. I'm on the board of directors. I'm the secretary, so this is my thing that I have to do as secretary. Is the two meet the candidate sessions. The first one was last Friday night, and this is the second and last one. If you have any questions, they need to be written on index cards, and these two people have cards and pencils. If you need them, raise your hand, they'll bring you a card. And when you're done filling out your question, because you might have questions during the session, then raise your hand and they'll pick it up so you don't have to get out of your seats and walk up. Candidate, I'll introduce the candidates in a minute. And I want to read this to you. During last week's Meet the Candidates, while many of the answers were candidates' opinions, some answers that seemed to state facts were not entirely accurate. While I didn't know whether all statements were true, I felt it was not my place to correct anyone about facts that I knew were incorrect, and I will not make corrections today, because this is the candidate's time to express themselves and not a back and forth conversation amongst themselves or with other members. I encourage you as voting members and responsible members of our very important community that if you have questions between now and the election in June, please fact check the answers you receive by asking people who know the facts and or reading our governing documents as well as corporate code. So here's
And that came from,
pardon me?
that purpose was addressed from you or
Pardon me.
the board? Okay.
No, this is personally from me and my experience here at the meeting.
Okay.
So I just want people to be aware, if you question things, find a way to fact check it, because sometimes people might say something that they believe is true and maybe it's not. So I will introduce the candidates, and they're in order of how they put in their application to be a candidate. And as I said to Avante, we have Brad Hudson, Sean Coulter, Pamela Klug, and Mark Bailey. Some of the questions are addressed to one or two candidates. Most are addressed to all. So I'll kind of intersperse the individual ones with the ones that are addressed to all. And as you remember from before, what we're going to do is first have the candidates have a 2-minute, what do we call it?
Opening.
Well, a 2-minute opening statement. And then we'll start asking questions, and you will have 1 minute to respond to each, and these will be timed. And at the end, you'll have a 1-minute conclusion. And then that'll conclude. So I will start with. I asked her
I'm gonna
about.
give you 10 seconds left and then 5 seconds left. Hey, sorry.
So we'll start with opening statements first from Brad.
Thanks, Kim. Good morning, everyone. My husband Paul and I purchased our home here in 2019 on our second visit to PMC. Initially, it was a weekend getaway for us and our family and friends. We came up almost every weekend for the first 8 months until COVID hit, and then we were both able to work at home, so we lived here full time for about 1.5 years. During that period, I retired, and Paul has since had to return to in-person work most of the week at his office in Goleta. Until he can retire, we have a place near there that we stay midweek, but I stay up here throughout the week often. Prior to my retirement, I did a little bit of everything. I owned a travel agency for about 15 years. I was a licensed real estate appraiser. I worked for a small recycling company in Ojai, and also in public service as a district representative for a state senator and a member of Congress. Working for both of those elected officials, my issue areas included emergency preparedness and response, small business, healthcare, and our aging community members. I also served as a community resource, particularly during challenging times of numerous wildfires, the Montecito debris flow, COVID, and the ensuing unemployment crisis and business impacts. I developed cooperative relationships with community groups, elected officials, government agencies, and private sector organizations. I was responsible for taking and responding to comments and complaints from happy and angry constituents on both sides of the aisle. I've also volunteered on a number of nonprofit boards, including the Ojai Valley Chamber of Commerce. I look forward to bringing a fresh and balanced and independent approach to our board's decision-making process, and believe my calm temperament and experience will be an asset. While I always prefer to find ways to collaborate towards workable solutions, I don't shy away from dissent when there's something I disagree with. Thank you, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Memorial Weekend and blessings to all the men and women who have served this great country. I'd like to start out by saying this: our team wasn't about defunding the amenities, but by finding ways of trimming back. We're not tying the hands of the board to do their fiduciary duties, but to allow them, but not allowing them free rein when it comes to spending money on new bills. I can't morally stand by when I hear a member who is caring for their aging parent, working 40 hours a week at minimum wage for 3 years without a raise, and every Friday needing to take time off to go to stand in line and have food, not knowing how they're going to pay for their assessments or their medical bills. Yes, we have to address the building that we're sitting in today, make it safe and enjoyable for everyone, especially the hardworking members of this community. But we have to do it in a way that's not a burden on the community. Would you like me to get closer? Yes. We must all work together and make sure that everyone has an opportunity to vote on the important issues, especially when it comes to keeping our community affordable for all. If you all don't know who I am, my name is Sean Coulter. I'm 40 years in the film industry. 30 of them as a Teamster, heavy equipment operator, transportation coordinator, and a captain. I have really good knowledge about budgeting, about employee morale, and how to establish a real working bond between all aspects of the industry. Thank you very much, and please do vote.
Thank you all for being here today. I'm happy Memorial Day, and thank you to all of the veterans who have served. I am a 29-year resident of Pine Mountain Club. I am a consummate volunteer. I have served on committees, and I think last time there was a question about my attending board meetings, but in the last couple of years with COVID, I did attend most of the Zoom meetings. So I am now run 2 successful dental offices. I was a CFO for a very prosperous wardrobe company in Hollywood for many years. And I look forward to taking your questions, and I look forward also to this being over today. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you. First, I'd like to second what Pam said. That was the longest 2 hours of my life last Friday. Okay, I'm running on a PMC affordable platform to let the members vote. Before moving to Pine Mountain Club, I had a 20-year job in the government sector as a traffic accident reconstructionist, where I traveled all over the United States testifying as an expert witness. And then I saw one of my friends come weekly throughout the winter to my work, and he had snow dripping out of his truck. And I'm thinking, how many hours could it possibly take him to get here? That's when I decided to come up and check out Pine Mountain Club, and like most of you, it absolutely seduced me. After a couple of years of commuting off the mountain, I I bought a restaurant in a commercial center and run that successfully for about 2 decades. During which time, most of the time, I served on the Pine Mountain Club Commercial Property Owners Association Board of Directors, the majority as president, but I also served as secretary, treasurer, and for about the last 7 years, even though everyone had a title, I did everything for it. Did not intend to run for this board of directors, but like Sean said, it's important that everybody has an opportunity to live here and not be told if you can't afford the dues to move. Dead set against that. We can keep this affordable for everyone, keep the amenities we have, and make it fun for everyone. Thank you.
Okay, which one would you start? Yeah. What we're going to do is alternate. Who starts? Up him. Okay, I'll have you.
She's got tons of ideas.
Thank you. Okay, first, with that, this is for everyone. Without knowing all the facts about the clubhouse remodel, what do you feel is the maximum amount which is spent on the project, starting with Brad?
I don't have a specific amount. I'm not an architect or a contractor. I don't know what it will cost to do the renovations that we ultimately decide on. So as there hasn't been a final plan and a request for proposal, it's hard to put a limit when you don't have all of the information.
Sean?
If you go out there, you can see what they're asking us to have. You can see the underground garage for the golf carts. You can see that they're wanting to have a exercise room, which we already have at the business district. The price of this is going to be more than what most of us can afford at this time. I believe wholeheartedly that if we're going to have a remodel on this particular building, like I said before, we must do it with everyone's approval. We cannot sit there and say, I am going to rebuild, I'm going to build a third building and not really knowing the cost. I don't think it has anything to do with what desires are. I think we have to really focus in on what we want as a community and how we want to pay for it. It doesn't, the money is just not there for us right now. Slow, steady, do things logically, one thing at a time. Go ahead and do the roof.
Pamela?
Okay, of course, I'm not an architect either. I'm not in the construction industry. I don't have a figure. But I also think that, you know, if we look at the entire country today, what's going on in America, you know, where our little microcosm of PMC is, you know, are we headed towards a bigger recession? Are people going to be losing their houses? Are they going to be losing their jobs? To start the high dollar, you know, renovation or remodel and expansion of the club is, I think that not piecemeal is a bad way of putting it, but if we start and we do it in smaller increments and if it can be done that way. Like I said, I don't have the knowledge of that. What I would do would be to study and figure it out, you know?
Thank you. And it is very, very difficult to answer questions in 1 minute. If you haven't figured that out. I'm totally against the expansion. This is the wrong time for it right now. While we're going through what we're going through with inflation, I think if something's broke, fix it and keep it at PMC affordable for all. And like I said last week, I'll be the broken wheel on this one. Thank you.
This one starts with Sean. One challenge the POA faces is misinformation on Facebook about the POA. How do you think the POA should deal with this serious problem?
Misinformation comes from every aspect of life. It doesn't matter. If, you see it, why should the board or our employees take the time and the money and the effort to try and correct every misunderstanding? It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you go out there, you look at every political person that, that we try and vote for, and they're always giving you misinformation. They're always giving you something that they think is right. It isn't always right. So for me, you have to do your own research. If you hear something and it doesn't sound right, go and check it out. Don't rely on the board or your POA or anybody else to tell you that we have to attack this or that or the other thing. You do your own research, and that's kind of where I'm at.
And I think research, that's what you have to do. Talk to people, and Facebook is a really funny place, so there's all kinds of information, misinformation, but people, you need to do your own research, talk to the candidates, talk to board members, but as far as the board and the POA handling misinformation from Facebook, I think that's kind of a ridiculous request.
Mark?
Thank you. I can't believe how much time people spent at the last meeting and this one just absolutely obsessing about Facebook. It's a thing that adults can exchange ideas, mostly kids like Facebook. I think is a whole non-starter. We get wrong information from many places. I even get some things that I have a giggle about when I pick my monthly condor. So Facebook, I think, is so overblown, and I see PMC, some of what I call the elitists of PMC, they already run about 98% of the information that is passed out to the membership, and they're damned if they want to give up that last 2%. So I think it's a whole non-starter.
Yeah.
Well, I think one thing that we can do, even as candidates, when we're running for office, is not trade in the rumors and perpetuate the rumors that are on Facebook or make misstatements that are not based on. As far as the board and the association, I don't know that it would be effective for the board to respond directly on the Facebook pages to issues that come up, but I think the board and the association lack considerably in communication. So I don't even know how many people know there is a real official Facebook page for the association. It's, I believe, run by Patrice in her spare time, which she doesn't have a lot of, so it's not super helpful or informational. But I think that's a resource that we could use to get out information, not for a debate within the community, and also just better and more communication and more specific communication from the board.
This question is for Pamela. Pamela, your recent Facebook post stated that the clubhouse renovation project would cost members $8 million. What is the source?
My recent Facebook post, I haven't really been posting, so I'm not really sure where that number came from. If I don't have somebody administering my Facebook, so, I don't think that that amount is correct. I'm not sure.
Okay. Mark, this is for Mark. Is it true you actually own 4 lots and hold the paper on the property in the village? If so, don't you think that your slogan, keep PMP affordable, is really in your own best interest?
I think it's in everyone's best interest. I didn't inherit my money. I didn't go to get my money from a GoFundMe account. I earned my money and I want to spend it how I wish to spend it.
This is for all, and we actually are starting the camera on it. CCNR 3.2A state that the association, in parentheses, the board, should maintain, restore, and repair, and I'm not sure if that's part of it, but okay. Maintain, restore, and repair all association property. Revitalization or major remodel and expansion is not part of the board duties. Do you think the board can legally move forward with this project without a vote by the members?
I think that we've seen in the past that yes, the board can move forward, and they are moving forward as far as I know. I mean, from what I understood in the Zoom meeting last time. That's a loaded question, like all of these questions. Revitalization, you're talking about, it's wording, you know, I mean, and we have a big issue with the way that things are worded in our board meetings, and I think our petitions that did not get on the June ballot had a wording issue that the board took up with our legal counsel. I think the people of PMC deserve a vote in anything that's going on here, unless it's a very small project and it's going to affect the, you know, people being able to use our amenities.
Mark? You want to read it?
Yes, please.
CCNR 3.2A state the association, the BOD, should maintain, restore, and repair all association property. Revitalization or major remodel and expansion is not part of the board's duties. Do you think the board can legally move forward with this project without a vote by the members?
Apparently they can, immorally. I go back to 2017 when it was absolutely decided where the membership wants to go. And I was also part of that petition. I was the one that organized the 2 petitions, and along with quite a few others. And it was about 9 out of every 10 people that went through that post office, grabbed the pen and signed the petitions. They want to control where their money goes. And so if I guess they can't be just pig-headed and just ignore the membership, and I think that's the wrong way to go. Like I said last week, I want the PMC to more resemble the USA rather than Russia and China.
Yeah.
I believe the board has the legal right. I believe that the candidates running in the last election all supported the renovation and they were elected. So I believe there is community support for the improvements and renovation of the clubhouse. We do function like the US government. I don't know any of us that get to vote on the federal budget unless we're members of Congress or the Senate. We not get to vote on the state budget unless we're members of the legislature. We elect representatives that we agree with and trust them to carry out their duties.
Can you repeat the question, please?
CCNR 3.2A states that the association with the OD should maintain, restore, and repair all association property. Revitalization or major remodel and expansion is not part of the board duty. Do you think the board can legally move forward with this project without a vote of the members?
Well, this expansion is not just maintaining. This expansion is about rebuilding. Building a new building is part of that expansion. No, I do not think they have the right to do that. And I do believe that we as members must have a vote. We must all be able to say, no, it's high costs. I'm sorry. I don't think that the board really should have that right. Now, you want to play legal? Okay, fine. They can play legal. But you know what? We as members must be able to sit there and say, if a board member is going to force us to pay for something like this, we will then have a right to remove them from office. Period.
Okay, so we're starting with Brad.
Mark.
Somebody can do Brad again.
Okay. Oh, then first I'm going to ask Brad an individual question. Brad, what would be your solution to improve on communications regarding the MPPO website and social media pages?
Well, the website, pretty much anything we did might be an improvement. And it is being looked at, and I believe the board is to the point where they realize that we do need to allocate some money to redo the website. I don't know how many people have tried to find things on there. Usually the search button will work pretty good, but if you just try and logically look for something, it can be a little bit frustrating. In addition to that, I believe utilizing our Facebook page and also just making people aware that we have one where we can communicate information. We don't even share a link with that on any of the emails that we send out to the association. It's hard to find unless you go to the association website and go to the bottom and click on the link. Scrolling or just searching for it. I don't know if it's because of the type of page, it's a community page that's making it difficult to find, but I don't think most people are aware of it.
Sean, this question is for you.
Ooh.
You're proposing leasing out the cafe as a for-profit business. If this happens, will you fight for the workers of the new business to ensure they do not cut wages and benefits compared to the current level?
Okay, the current level right now for the employees is $15.50 an hour. That's minimum wage. Now, if we decide to have that restaurant leased out, that's a business owner's decision. Now, I personally would like to support, and I absolutely will support anyone to get higher wages. That's what I believe in. I believe in higher wage. I believe in everyone having the capability to pay for things that they need, the necessities. Can I tell the owner or the guy who's running, the person who will be running the clubhouse or the restaurant, that they have to pay them $40 an hour? I can't do that. But I can say that they do have, that they should be looking into giving decent wages for their employees.
This one is just for Pamela. In the last meeting, you stated that the pool cost over $1 million. Since the statement contradicts information available to members, please explain what data you used to come to that conclusion.
And you know, I'm sorry that I said that because it was something that I got misinformation on. And I think stating numbers and amounts that these costs, first of all, I don't know if anybody reads the Condor and the pages where we find out what has been spent and where it was spent and how much it was spent every month. I've been in accounting a long time, and it's very hard to figure out exactly what's going on. And I'm sorry for that misinformed statement.
Mark, this one is just for you. You have repeatedly bashed current board members on your Facebook page. Do you really think these board members would want to work with you, or will they just leave it at one?
No, they love me. And as far as constantly bashing the board members on the page, they might be thinking about a couple of other people. Where I am critical of certain actions, I also approve of certain actions. And the thing I'm most critical about is this board of 9. Yes, I realize they all got voted in. Often in the past, there was just 3 people that was running as candidates. So I don't believe they reflect the whole community as a whole. And again, they need to listen to the membership and give us all a vote, keep PMC affordable. And I do not constantly bash the board of directors.
Okay, this one is for everyone, and we start with, what are the 5 main duties of the board members?
Well, there might be more than 5 main duties of the board members, but obviously they've got a fiduciary commitment, duty to everybody. Obviously keep the standard of the clubhouse up. Keep the amenities up, but that does not mean a blank check. When we lose hundreds of thousands of dollars on one amenity that's only used by a handful of people, that is just wrong. And look into all of the amenities, look at their budgets, meet with the managers. Just because a manager says they want X amount of dollars a year doesn't mean they're going to get it. And also keep the community safe.
I do not have the 5 technical things, so I'm just gonna go on intuition here. Obviously, fiduciary responsibility to the association, protect and maintain our resources and assets. I would say serve the interests of the community, but I'm guessing there are 5 specific things that I can help there is.
Thank you. Sean?
Well, yeah, we do have duties that we must do as board members. We all know that. We all understand that there is a fiduciary duty to make sure that all of our amenities are taken care of. We also have to make sure that every employee has proper training. And when we walk into a clubhouse, anything like that, we have to be invited with open arms. And as far as every specific duty, I'll tell you right now, I don't have those answers, but I will get them. And I will know them, and I will have them every single day. I go to a board meeting, I will make sure that I address every one of them, make sure that we as a community continue working together. And I'm just, it's just, it's sad to see this community in such a way right now. When I go up to the equestrian center and see that it needs hard work, that hasn't been done. So now we have to get down and bear down and do the work. Really do.
Okay, 5 things. First of all, representing the membership is the #1 job of a board member. To getting out in the community to make sure you know what the members want. The fiduciary responsibility is a main thing. Also, resource maintenance. I also believe that the board members have a duty to listen to what the employees and the people who work for us in our own community, what they have to say. I think that's only 4, but we can sit up here and talk all day about what, and answer questions on how many 5, there's 5 things that you need to do. There's a lot more than the 5 things that a board member should do.
Mark?
Very
Oh, you started? I mean,
I'll do it again.
I'm sorry. I actually wrote it correctly on here. Yeah.
Did I?
Oh,
Yeah, I think.
Do you believe that maintaining low assessment fees might be appealing to some members, but could inevitably harm the long-term health of our community? If yes, why? If no, why?
And then Smee, right?
Yes.
Sorry, can you just read it again? Sorry.
Yes. Do you believe that maintaining low assessment might be appealing to some members, but could inevitably harm the long-term health of our community?
I believe it could. I think we should try and manage our assessment increases in our budgets as much as possible. But yes, I think if we were looking at, not ever having increases or decreases, I think they could have pressure. That's all. But it would depend on the specific numbers and situations.
In the past 5 years, we've seen our assessments go up $474. That's hurting a lot of members. And I even looked, and I know that, for example, the equestrian center, most of those animals up there right now are animals that have been rescued. The people that have those animals love those animals. They can't buy them, but they love them, they pet them, they care for them, they pay for all that, and they just got an increase of $30 per month on those stalls. What have we done as far as the golf? We've done nothing. We paid $12 for a round. The average cost right now in America, and I have it written right here, just to have a round of golf is somewhere from 2020, for 9 holes is $33, and for 18 holes is $61 for any golf course except here. I'm sorry, we have to really look at where to spot to bring money in. And yes, I think that the cost of this assessments is too high for all of us at this moment. I think we can really work together to make it happen. That keeps it down low.
Yes. We believe that maintaining low assessment fees might be appealing to some members, but could inevitably harm the long-term health of our community.
Do I feel that lowering the assessments could harm our community? No, I think that we need to get creative in how our community is, and our amenities are utilized and what costs are paid for and how. I think that, the low assessments, we aren't paying that much. But when you come in and we have a lot of fixed income people, and what it seems like the boards really are trying to push out what they would consider the riffraff or the underprivileged members who are on fixed incomes. And I don't think that's right. So, there's gotta be a way to make this work for everyone involved.
Mark,
Yes, I absolutely do think it hurts our association. Right now is one of the few times I've seen the assessments in many cases be worth more than the actual lot, especially some of these very hard to build lots. And they're going to go to be foreclosed upon because people are just going to stop paying. That is going to go back to the clubhouse. Clubhouse loses their revenue. Guess who's going to have to pick up this revenue? And our assessments further say what Sean just said, 33% up since 2018. What happened in the last 5 years since 2018? We got 33%.
Ron is first on this one. So.
Yes, I am.
Let me just go ahead. Okay.
Uh-oh. Hard one.
Okay, here goes. Reluctantly, this is for Sean and Pamela. Sean first. Did you ever serve on the planning committee, and if yes, were you asked to leave after 1 year?
I'm sorry?
Did you ever serve on the planning committee, and if yes, were you asked to leave after 1 year?
Yes, I served on the planning committee. No, I was not asked to leave after 1 year. I actually had to leave after 1 year because my wife got ill and she had cancer, and I had to work with her and make sure that she got the proper treatment that she needed. My intention was actually to stay on the planning committee because I was the chair and I wanted to continue with it, but unfortunately, it got to a place where the love of my life was in danger of dying, and I was not about to allow that to happen. So I had to step down.
After I was on the planning committee, no, I was never asked to leave. My father was very ill and I felt that I could not stay in the position, especially since I was secretary for the planning committee for the time that I was on. So no, I was not asked to leave.
Okay, this question is just for Mark. Are you currently asking members to give you money on your website?
No, I'm not. I have a website that I started as an instrument to move forward in keeping PMC affordable. And because some people didn't have the literary comprehension to read the word future, they assumed that I was taking money. I paid for the mailer on my own for all three of us, not getting reimbursed, paid for my own signs, not getting reimbursed, paid for the website, and the website administrator not getting reimbursed. But obviously, I think some people here who want to keep PMC affordable and let the people vote, I think they might want to help do some heavy lifting. And I was asked to run for the board of directors, and a lot of people said, "What can we do to donate?" That's why it's on there, just because some people can't comprehend the sentence. I'm sorry, I can't help them.
Okay, I'll give you two. This is just for Pamela. While it is open, the pool will lose more money than the cafe based on the budget. Should members that do not use these amenities subsidize those who do?
Well, if we look towards the past, I would say yes. I use the pool all the time. I'm sure that's why it was brought up to me. And I would gladly pay a monthly fee to use that pool.
Thank you. And one more from Mark. And then we'll go back to the general question. If you're running on the floor to let the members vote, please explain the logistics of how that would work, including project revisions after the vote.
Certainly. And this goes back to the planning committee. I was unaware that I had to be at a town hall meeting last year to stop a $10.5 million or $20 million expansion. I was completely unaware of that. I do follow the board meetings via Zoom. And as far as let the members vote, you yourself, Pam, said in a recent meeting, and we were talking about $1.5 million. We wasn't talking about a doormat. You said the members don't get to vote on everything. And I think that's ludicrous. If it's $10.5 million, I look around, and you can buy a lot of damn stuff for $10.5 million.
I did say that. If anybody afterwards wants me to explain, I will be very happy. And that was factual. Starting with John. Do you support returning to the 3-year term, then 1 year off before running for the board again?
Yes. I do. Absolutely, I do. Look, if I'm donating my time to this board for 3 full years, when I get off, me donating my time will not stop there. If I see something that I have near and dear to my heart, and I want to continue working on, I don't have to be on the board to do that. I can do that outside as you and everyone else in this neighborhood can. So I do believe in term limit. I do believe that I can accomplish quite a bit in the 3 years I have. I do believe I can do it, take a year off, and if choose, I can come back. But I believe that fresh, new blood should be in with the community, with all voices heard. I do believe that.
Okay, I just want to add something. People here know that California law changes.
Excuse me, Cam, before you say something, this is for the,
Okay,
not
I want to-
you. Okay, that's twice you've done that, and I'll make it say, thank you, Joe.
Members would like to topic down the board member afterwards, they're more than happy to do that. But right now, this is our time.
Right on.
Not hers.
Yeah, okay. Okay. You want me to repeat it?
No, I totally believe in term limits for board members. I personally would, even if that isn't in effect, would not run again until I had taken some time off. I think gaining a perspective after 3 years of sitting on a voluntary board is, that gives you a good time to get out in the community, find out if what you were doing was working, and to give, like I said, to give yourself a good new perspective on, you know, coming back fresh, maybe after a year or 2 years.
Okay, Mark.
Absolutely, yes. 3 years, I will, if I get on the board, I will run. I will take a year off. If I think I made a difference in those 3 years, I will run again. This is something that should have been came up for the documents committee. They are the ones responsible for keeping the membership notified, and this rule changed about 18 months ago. So yes, 3 years, take a year off. Don't monopolize this place.
As I mentioned last time, my belief personally is we have term limits. They're called elections. We have them for board of directors. We have them for all of the other elected officials that we vote for. If you don't like people that are serving, don't vote to reelect them. I group the members, or it would like term limits for this board. I would support those. I would not be strongly in favor of the take a year off. I think that if somebody serves for 3 years and takes a year off, they're probably not going to want to come back on. I also think we need to look at the fact that there's very little participation in our elections. I believe the last election, all 4 candidates running were incumbents. Nobody challenged them. If they were turned out, that would be 4 vacant seats. When, you know, we need to have competitive elections, and that will resolve the issue. And I would support it if it came before the board.
Okay, this one starts with Pamela. Do you agree with the board's decision to approve the A2 project to grade the Equine Center hillside?
The grading has to do with, what happened because of the immense snowfall. And I believe that all of our amenities should be looked after. I'm not trying to stop anybody from golfing, stop anyone from having horses at the, equestrian center. Let's just figure out how to make this work a little bit better. How to make the people who use the amenities or, to maybe pay a little bit more. Like I said, I'm willing to pay an extra $30 a month just to use the pool. I'm sorry, I think, yes, I say yes, I do support.
Oh, Mark.
Would you repeat it, please?
Yes. Do you agree with the board's decision to approve the A2 project to grade the Equine Center hillside?
If that's the $177,000 you're pertaining to, no, I do not. Because Chairman Lewis sold this for members and horses' safety, so boulders don't roll down the hill and hit them. Only about $20,000, a little over $20,000 was for the grading and the erosion control, and the majority of it was for new fencing. So I think it was missold for the numbers.
Brown.
It's not a $177,000 project. It's currently, I believe, around $120,000. It may be lower than that. I don't believe it was a result of the storm. I think this project was in the works before that. I've actually been out and walked the site with equestrian center people. It does not just impact the equestrian center, it could create safety issues for the road leading to the transfer station that we all use. There is definitely a potential for erosion and rocks and debris coming down, crossing that road. So I do support the safety improvements to that. It also improves the safety for horses, and when they get that project done, they may be able to increase the capacity. They're currently capped at 30 because there are horses that can be together in pasture versus stalls when they're compatible with eating together and things like that. So it could actually increase the revenue to the equestrian center.
I sat down with the manager of the equestrian center for about 2 hours. Not only did I do that, I also went up to the top of the hill where those animals, were the whole incline to see what the erosion was really about. I was appalled. I was disgusted and appalled. We have these majestic animals living like that. And it's not just the animals that they're looking at. They're looking at the large boulders. And the board made the mistake, in my humble opinion, by authorizing $177,000. I spoke to the manager, like I said, and right now she's estimating it to be approximately 85,000, maybe 100. I don't think it will be much more than that. She has taken really great care of trying to figure out cost-cutting measures, including building a ring in the back that only cost us $1,700 because she was able to get donations. We can look at grants, look at everything else to make sure that the kids and the horses are cared for and safe, and our roads are safe from the boulders.
Okay, Mark's first on. How do you plan to deal with the budget as well as the accountability of expenses? Do you plan on having no board member do audits of expenses at the end of the year? Do you plan on having no board member do audits of expenses? Maybe that's what you make. How do you plan to deal with the budget as well as the accountability of expenses? Yeah, that's kind of. Yeah, how do you plan to deal with the budget as well as the accountability of expenses?
Okay, yeah, I can read that one. Okay, obviously, it was asked, can I work with the rest of the board? Of course I could. I would obviously be probably the most fiscally conservative member there. But I would also like to have a forensic accountant of the expenses of what's gone on the last few years.
As board members, we would have oversight on the budget. So I would work in that capacity. We have a budget committee that works and brings the budget to the suggested budget to the board. They provide oversight. The board should be providing oversight. I assume we have outside auditing of our books. If we don't, I would be concerned as to why we don't, but I would assume that we do have some kind of outside audit process. And this information is available to us as members. You can look at the budget, you can get the budget, you can attend budget workshops, and you can also attend or join the budget committee.
Sean,
Repeat that, please.
Yes. Here it is. How do you plan to deal with the budget as well as the accountability of expenses?
Forensic accountant. We used to have a forensic accountant here. She was let go. That was a long time ago, but I do believe that we must have accountability at all levels when it comes to financing. And we must be making sure that we are always on the watch every dime that is spent. That means not only me as a board member, if I get on the board, it means that we as homeowners must keep the accountability going. We cannot just sit there and say, hey, you know what? This is the budget we've got, and we have to agree to it. We don't have to agree to it. We question it, just like we were just questioning $177,000. We as homeowners should question that. Okay, is it really gonna cost you that? And if it isn't gonna cost you that, what are you gonna do with the money that is over? So yes, we definitely have to have accountability at all levels.
Well, I mean, working with other board members and the budget committee are all how we take accountability. And I think that Sean's right, that each homeowner needs to check the budgets, look at things, come to meetings, ask questions. And I think that sometimes the board is not in favor of the questioning and accountability for a budget. So, we just have to work together.
Yeah.
I haven't read this whole thing, but I'm going to start with Brad. Communication issues. There seems to be many different verbal explanations of projects that do not always agree. What is your opinion of having an official online tracking of all projects, even before construction, so that members on the board are seeing the same information?
I'm not sure that I understand what the mechanics of that question would lead to, but I definitely would be supportive, as I've made clear, of more communication and more transparency. So if it's coming up with some kind of a tracker of the project, and if this is referring to the revitalization project of the clubhouse, I would definitely support something like that if that's what's being asked for, even if it's not being asked for. I think that would be helpful, because I think the more communication we do as an association and board to the members, the more problems that will not be problems.
Yeah.
Absolutely, transparency is number one. It's key. We should know where our money is being spent. Not to say that we are going to give, well, how much is this piece of paper, and we're not going to give constraints on the board, because they do have that fiduciary duty to make sure that everything is maintained and it is actually in good working order, that the employees have what they need, and that we have a safe, comfortable environment to live in, to be enjoyed. As far as transparency, as far as the members knowing where the money is spent, absolutely we should. We should be asking those questions. They should have a website that shows us exactly where the money is going, when it's going there. That's just part of the communications of this community. I mean, for me to sit there and say, okay, well, I want this special thing, I want to make sure that every single member here knows that I want it, and they agree to it. I'm not just going to sit there and say, oh, I'm going to take it and I'm going to do it, because I think it's important for the community. It's not.
Next question.
Yes. There seems to be many different verbal explanations of projects that do not always agree. What is your opinion of having an official online tracking of all projects, even before construction, so that members on the board are seeing the same information?
Well, first of all, I think that's a great question. I also think that it's not something that would be really hard to implement on any website. I think that real-time information for members, communication is key, transparency is key, and yes, I think that's a great idea.
And Mark?
I think it's a fantastic idea. It should be easily done, transparent. Then we probably would have had so many estimates on, did the pool cost 500? Did it cost 1.5 million? Was it somewhere between? Did it include other things? That should just be basic 101 common sense right now. Yeah, absolutely.
And now we'll start with Sean. Name 3 alternative funding ideas you have to help fund our nonprofit social club.
Okay, so we are on the 501c7. That's nonprofit. We can, in fact, are able to have a 15% limit income from general public use and 35% overall. That means that for us, we collect approximately 5 million, a little over $5 million in assessments. That gives us $750,000 extra that we can get from outside sources. So I do believe that we can do it through grants for kids to learn how to play golf, grants for children to learn about equestrian. The items that we have, the campgrounds, we can bring in people that shows them how to camp properly. All these things can be used and we can use the grants. Now the question will be, can the 501c7 allow us to do this? That's what I'm researching right now, and hopefully it can. But yes, grants are important.
Okay, and the question was, what 3?
Alternate funding ideas do you have to help fund our nonprofit?
Well, you know what, I think we should take advantage of some of the celebrity we have in this community, or say golf tournaments that we bring in outside golfers. And, you know, as Sean pointed out, we are allowed to take in a certain amount of outside monies. Golf tournaments, tennis tournaments, you know, maybe even the swimming pool could be used for some kind of competitions. But, you know, I think we just need to think outside of the box. I mean, why aren't we? Why aren't we doing these things? Why do we want to keep this place a secret? I mean, since I've lived here, that was always
Are you done? Okay.
Mark.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have
what's
some
my-
cell phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
my time was up.
She's got 10 more seconds.
I lost my train of thought.
Okay, I'm piggybacking on Sean a little bit. Obviously grants. I would definitely like to look at the food industry. I know we hired Mike. I met Mike. He was interested in buying my restaurant before I met him, and I know he knows what he's doing, but I'd still like to stick my nose in there a little bit because I picked up some orders for the clubhouse before when there were snow conditions and shipped them over here. And there's some things that could be better spent. And bar rescue, where we make $7,000 over the course of a year. And you mentioned that I do own 4 properties and a common interest in the commercial center. I did that with the restaurant and bar industry. And again, I said this last time, you get a bottle of Jack Daniels for $35. 5 pours, it's already paid for. You've got 25 pours left. To wind up the end of the year with $7,000 total profit is nonsense. The money's going somewhere.
And that.
So we can, should and do continue to look for efficiencies in the budget and in our operations, and that should continue. As far as alternative funding sources, grants are an option. Grants are not gonna, I don't believe, bring in a lot of funding to our organization. We can get specific ones like we've gotten for fire and mitigation, and Peggy has been very instrumental in that. So if there are grant opportunities, we should attempt to get them, but they're very competitive. Fundraisers, I've talked to community members who think fundraisers would be an option and that they could be very financially successful up here. We have a great talent pool up here that's truly amazing. I don't think fees for our general amenities or extra fees are a way to go. I mean, our pool is paid for by our assessments. I don't think we should start charging people $30 a month to use it. Thank you.
Okay, new question, let's see. Starting with Pamela. What is your position on short-term rentals, STRs, and its effect on housing prices?
Okay, I believe that there are always a few that are gonna wreck it for everybody else. I do believe that we should allow STRs in our community. I feel that, and I don't have the exact figures, so I'm not going to quote figures, but when effective, that, was it January 1st of 2022, that only grandfathered in properties could have STRs, that property prices did start to fall. Also, property prices and sales in Pinyon Pines, Fraser Park, and the surrounding mountain communities also went up because they did not have those limitations. So I believe that we should allow people to have STRs in our community. And like I said, it's always a few that wreck it for the majority.
Mark?
Thank you. I absolutely believe the STRs should be allowed to come back. Obviously, manage them. The bad ones are still in operation. That's what you start with. You start with getting rid of the bad ones. Cap them at 25%. It will never get anywhere close to that. There was only occupied at about 20% rate. We didn't put in no speed lift or anything like that. So there's no more reasons for people to come up. But it absolutely had a devastating impact on our economy, and ours hit the skids in June of 2022. It was still the market was hopping. I do real estate everywhere. Ours hit the skids in January and February. The interest rates had not started going up then. The gas prices hadn't started going up then. The market as a whole had not cooled then. We just self-inflicted an injury.
Brad.
I think we do need limits on STRs. The current limits that we have were one of the few solutions that we were able to do under state law at the time. I think there's a potential to get changes to that law, or also work with the county to provide additional guidance and limits on STRs, but I believe they are necessary and I do want them. I believe STRs and row houses helped artificially increase prices during the craze that we had with those. And while we're talking about keeping PMC affordable, purchasing of homes is also a part of that. And I do believe that the run on STR flipping and also row houses impacted our price point artificially. And also, especially with growth houses, affects our housing inventory. It takes homes off the market of sales and rentals. They typically will get these homes to an extent, so they're not able to go back on the market without improvements.
STRs are a very important part of our community. We all realize that we have a business district that we should be working with. We also know that when we have STRs, it also brings in new revenue for the community. We can't have both ways. We can't sit there and say we want lower assessments and not have STRs. It just doesn't make sense. Financially, it doesn't make sense. So yeah, we do have to have STRs, and I do know that we can, in fact, look into making sure that the ones that are here, that are not properly maintained, that are not properly looked at, that we have a security office that should be able to go up there and say, okay, you guys are out. And if the patrol cannot do that, they call the sheriff's department and get them out. And that if they are an STR, that the owners of that STR must sign a document stating that we are allowed to do that. Period. That's it.
New question. Starting with Mark. Can we improve enforcement by patrol? Do you think we would benefit from a private security company in place of control? Patrol.
I don't really think so. I love our patrol. I think I realize they're not full on security, but I would certainly never hesitate to contact them. And they've even contacted me a couple of times when they've had their problems and they've stretched too thin. So I very much value and love our patrol.
Yeah, I agree. I do not think we should replace them with a private security company. I think they do a great job. They're very responsive. There are things they can and can't do. I would imagine a private security company that we would contract with would be under the same working parameters and not be armed. So no, I think they do a great job, and I would maintain them as employees of the association.
Thank you, Sean.
Taking the jobs out of people that live here is absolutely the last thing we need to do. The officers up there, they do a wonderful job for this community. Yes, they have to have parameters. Report, observe and report is basically their main function. They do much more than that for us in our community. They are definitely an asset, and to think they bring an outside company in, giving them the money and not keeping the money in Pine Mountain Club, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely absurd. And I really think that our officers do a great job, every single one of them, every single day. And we should be commending them for their hard work and their love for this community and the people that live here.
I don't really have much more to add. Everybody's pretty much said it all, but yes, safety patrol has always been great up here. A private security company sounds a little silly. These people are part of our community. They care about our community. I have never had a problem. When I needed them, they were there. And I understand they have parameters that they have to work under, and that, this isn't the wild and woolly west. The safety patrol is awesome.
Okay, the next one is starting with Brad. Will you continue the progress on the clubhouse renovation, or will you be obstructing the progress?
I will continue the progress on it. I think we need to do it in a financially responsible manner. I think we need to limit any potential debt as a result of it, but some may be necessary. But yes, I definitely support continuation of the project in some form.
I'm going to fight wholeheartedly for the members, that have the members have an opportunity to vote for this expansion. Because right now, if it was just limited to this building and other building that we have and making sure that it's properly maintained, I would have no problem with that. But when I see again an underground garage for golf carts, I'm sorry, I do not support that. I can't support that. The members don't want that. Everyone that I've spoken to, anyways, the expansion is just too costly for us. It's way too costly. So no, I don't support it. Because the members haven't voted for it.
Could you read that question?
Will you continue the progress on the clubhouse renovation, or will you be obstructing the process?
I think we need to pull back. I think that the members do deserve to, if we have to vote again, I know that in 2017, we voted against it, and for all the same reasons that people are against it now, because raising our assessments in a community with people that have a fixed income, then, and all the rumors out in the ether and in Facebook, let's get transparency. Let's make sure the members know how we're going forward, know exactly how it's going to be paid for. And there's, instead of having this great divide, let's come together.
Yeah, I'm absolutely not for the expansion unless the members got a chance to vote and voted for it. And if we keep repeating the same mistakes, expecting a different outcome, I think we've all gone a little bit balmy. I've got some contracts here that we've spent a heck of a lot of money on, and we've not moved forward with them. And last week at the Saturday board meeting, the first domino dropped again, and here we are. We're going to go down the same lane again. So I do not agree with continuing the expansion unless the members vote on it. It's their money, their membership.
Okay. Okay, this question is for Pamela and Mark.
We didn't have enough out.
No, that's further down in the stack. Question, no. I'll start with Pamela. I think the whole thing is for both of you. Oh, for Pamela. You said you want to get this over with. At the last, I think they meant the last meeting. How do you expect to enjoy twice as many hours of board meetings?
No, you know what? This is sitting in the hot seat. I'd like every single one of you to have to sit up here and listen and answer the same questions and come up with a better answer each time. This is not an easy thing to do. You know, I'm running for the board because I believe I can be a help to our community. I am willing to take the time for board meetings, for executive meetings, for committee meetings. And I mean, I've done it before with the Merchants Association. I've spent countless hours, and I'm a consummate volunteer. I was making a joke. Oh, sorry, I don't think we're supposed to joke. But this being a meet and greet is a lot of baloney. We're being attacked up here, especially Clark and myself. I've been attacked. So anyway, please, be kind to people who will actually get up in front of you and will actually try to make a difference.
The second part of this question, this is for Mark. You said last Friday was the longest 2 hours of your life. Now, do you expect to enjoy twice as many hours of your life?
Okay, it definitely felt like it was all day. But sitting up here, and I don't consider this the hot seat actually, running Lilac Festival, 3 weeks later running Wine in the Pines, and 3 weeks later running the car show, that's the hot seat. But we get 1 minute to answer a question, and we know what the question means. We don't even have time to frame it to basically advise the candidates what we're actually answering to. So it's very difficult, and I look forward to spending more time here, rolling my sleeves up and getting to work.
This is for all candidates starting the term. Being a board member is a commitment to attend all board meetings and committee meetings that you are a liaison for. Are you willing to make this commitment?
I'm not only willing to make the commitment, I'm going to make the commitment. I will definitely be there. And not only will I be going to the committees that they assign me to, I will also be able to go to the other committees that really interest me. So, I have the time now to donate, and I'm willing to donate my time to this community because I do love this community. My wife loves it, I love it, and everybody sitting on this table right here, they love it. We all care about this community. And so, yes, I definitely will be there the whole time.
Pamela?
I think this is an easy question. Yes, I will be here for all board meetings, and as Sean said, also for committee meetings that I need to attend and ones that I just enjoy. I love this community. I loved it the minute I moved here, and I want to see it thrive. Like I said, there's so much division right now. I'd like to see PMC happy again.
Mark?
Okay, absolutely, yes. We were supposed to be at the Grammy building last night, got 3 rooftop parties in a row. But I'll be there watching my Chelsea, my English football team tomorrow in the morning now. So, when I found out those 2 members that wasn't going to be here today, I kind of thought, well, it might not be no big deal if I'd taken this, but I decided to run for the board of directors, so when I'm expected to be here, I'm going to be here.
And Brett, no, that's everything.
No,
Brett?
So absolutely, I would commit to that. I'm fortunate that I am retired now, so I do have the time to devote. Even before I was retired, I served on a number of nonprofit boards and did volunteer for numerous organizations in Santa Barbara and Ventura County. Now that I have even more time to do that, I've been a little bit at a loss because I'm not down there to be involved with those organizations. So that was part of my decision to run for the board, having the time, missing being able to give back to communities in general, but particularly this one that we love so dearly.
This is for everyone starting with Pamela. During the last snowstorm, a lot of equipment broke down. Do you think it's a result of not having the right equipment or a lack of maintenance? Or is the staff too hard on the equipment?
You know what, I'm not part of the maintenance crew. I believe, I believe they have a good staff, and I think that maybe training would be, the training is lacks in that, and I don't think that the guys that run or the girls that run those machines actually need to break them. I think that they just need better training, and that's my answer.
Okay, Mark.
Okay, I believe it was a lack of planning and equipment and the wrath of Mother Nature. I think everything played quite a part. But definitely, what could we have done? We couldn't do much about nature, planning and the equipment. And I was one of the ones that was driving around in my Jeep because I had an escrow closing on Zion. And there's some people who did more than me, like firefighter Mark and Bob Wyatt, but I might have been well up on that list of being flagged down by so many people because they couldn't believe there was someone up there driving around in this mess, pulling people out. So, but the other people that stepped up, well, on behalf of the community that did what I was doing, and Bob and firefighter Mark, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because there's some really stuck people.
What?
I still need to go on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was an unusual storm, as we all know. We live on Upper Matterhorn. We had 4 feet the first day, 6 feet over the 2 days. That's not something that we were expected to have equipment that would operate in those conditions. I think our employees did the best that they could with what we had. I don't think having a bunch of skip loaders sitting on standby for the potential of another storm like that is a good use of our money. That said, there were a number of items, I believe 9 specific ones, that the board identified as shortcomings, and I believe they made action on almost all of those. One of those being have rental equipment on standby if there's a potential for something like that. But I think we have the proper equipment for our typical weather up here. This was the first time in my short time of 4 years up here that it wasn't able to keep up with it. But I think when we need to figure it out.
We all know that last storm was a storm that we haven't had here in over 20 years. I've lived here for 23, I know. As a heavy equipment operator, I can tell you right now that equipment that we had was not properly maintained. I have photos. So that was one thing. The other thing is the training program. You get up here, we train these young men and women to do the job. They figure out that they can't afford to stay up here. They have to leave. They have to go and find a higher paying job. Now, if you want to have a decent person to run this equipment and that knows how to run the equipment, we train them. We have proper online courses for them. They operate through the DOT supervised establishment that we have in California. Then yes, we can easily train them. We can pay them good wages, and then we can actually have those pieces of equipment maintained. We can also look at having
Okay, that's it on that one. Yes. We're gonna start with this mark. How can you help me not get kicked out of the Clubhouse restaurant at 9 p.m.? In parentheses, written by a kid.
Fake ID. No, it's, I realise it's for family, and I was up here when the kids wasn't allowed in there whatsoever. I think Ben Frederickson